Hello everyone, and welcome to the Mindfulness guided meditation. This is a regular broadcast every Thursday, and it's a place where we can come together for formal mindfulness practice. I've moved over to Google Hangouts from Spreecast because here I believe I can reach a wider audience. However, if you would like to see the archive of the Spreecast meditations, then they're available on Spreecast.com. Type in O mindfulness, the letter O, then mindfulness, and there are about 15 meditations. So if you want a different 10-minute meditation every day for 2 weeks, you can access them there. Today I will guide us through a 10-minute mindfulness of the breath, followed by a few words on the tone of our practice. What's the general approach? What's our attitude? We talk quite a lot about techniques, but I'd like to cover again the general approach, how we view as we practice. So for those who are meditation practitioners already, welcome. This is a good place to keep up the regular formal practice. And for those who are not familiar with mindfulness, you might be interested to know that mindfulness is a state that emerges when we pay attention to the present moment without judgment. And I know that sounds like a really good idea, and often it's just a theory until we start to practice, and then we really have an understanding of what that means to be here and to be attentive and to be accepting or non-judgmental about what we find. So it's the formal practice that is important, and that's why we're here online, Sangha, to support each other and keep up the formal sitting. So there are many people who have reaped benefits from practicing. The science backs up what people have found. They find often a better physical state, emotional state, mental state, and the theory makes no difference at all, but the practice does. So if you would like to adopt a dignified posture, I'll guide you through a 10-minute mindfulness meditation focusing on the breath. Sitting upright but not rigid helps us to stay alert. Closing our eyes, we come into the moment. Through the physical sensations of sitting, aware of our contact with the chair or cushion, aware perhaps of the physical feelings in our feet, resting perhaps on the floor, aware perhaps of the physical sensations in our hands. They may be in touch with our clothes, The fingers may be in touch with each other. We pick up the physical sensations as best we can. Coming home to the body, coming into the moment. Coming into the now. And once we're present in the body, once we're in touch through our senses, we can take our awareness to the breath. Perhaps noticing the belly moving, expanding on the in-breath, letting go on the out-breath. Allowing the body to breathe in its own natural rhythm. We might notice the ribs rising and falling. We might be aware of movement at the front, the sides, and even the back of the rib cage. And as the body breathes and moves, and as we notice and observe, it's quite likely that the mind wanders. We simply acknowledge where it's gone, and we come back kindly to the physical feelings of breathing. We come back from our thoughts, and it's still now, and there's still a moment to observe. We might be aware of the air passing in the nostrils, the caress on the way in and the way out. The body is breathing, and we are observing with a kind and compassionate regard. If we feel physical sensations, that's okay. If we don't feel physical sensations, that's okay too. If the mind wanders, that's normal. We're here to observe the breath and to accept whatever happens during that exercise. Being curious and moving towards the physical feelings in the body associated with breathing. Maybe noticing the flow, the pauses, noticing the clavicles at the top of the torso, the diaphragm dropping and rising, the mind here, the mind gone, and we keep coming back to the breath, coming back to the now, kindly and with a light-hearted touch. Practicing putting our attention where we want it, when we want it there. Just a few more breaths in mindful awareness. In touch with our senses. And adopting a warm and compassionate regard. And when we're ready, opening our eyes and being aware of that transition too. So when we learn mindfulness meditation, we talk a lot about how to meditate, We talk about bringing the mind back when it wanders. We talk about noticing the physical sensations in the body. We do our practice walking, lying down, sitting, even standing in the supermarket queue. We talk about sitting alert and, above all, making sure to actually do it. And this takes us to a place where we can more readily experience the moment in an accepting way. And on top of that, we need to know that being kind and compassionate and gentle with ourselves is really important. And how does that feel? And where do we feel it? Sometimes we don't know how that feels because we're not usually very kind to ourselves. And so we practice. We practice being our own loving and caring best friend, so that when the mind wanders, we don't beat ourselves up or give us a bad time. We say, that's interesting. I'll bring the mind back and I'll come back to the now. No judgment, just kindness. So having that approach means not trying too hard. And an analogy that's often used is that of tuning a musical instrument. Tuning a violin, for example. If the strings are too slack, then there's no sound. And if we're too relaxed about our practice, then we just don't know where we are. We might be lazy. If the strings of the violin are too taut, then if we're feeling that way, then we sometimes feel ready to snap. There's not a lot of opportunity for resonance. The sound is limited and dull. But if the strings are tuned just right, then full resonance is possible. And if we take this approach where we're alert but we're not rigid and trying too hard, then we can have an awareness of the subtleties in the body. We can tune in to the body, we can tune into the world around us, and we can harmonize. So it makes us receptive, it helps us to be aware, and this idea of tuning ourselves just right for meditation practice can be really helpful. So we combine that with being kind and being friendly with ourselves. And if you find it's too hard to be kind and friendly with yourself, then imagine that you're being kind and friendly to somebody else. And then you can allow that approach to leak over to your own private practice. So I wish you a week of mindful practice, and if you can, do it with just the right amount of alertness, just the right amount of effort, not too taut, not too relaxed, and remember to be gentle and kind. And I look forward to seeing you next Thursday for another broadcast. And in this way, we keep each other on track. It's important to be part of the online Sangha. So thank you to everyone who listens, and to those who listen at home after work. It's a valuable contribution that you make by being here and by practicing. So I'll see you next week, and there's more information on the O Mindfulness website. Bye-bye for now.